Different people work in different ways. Some are hard charging and others are more laid back. Whatever your personality type, it's important to be able to mesh gears with others to work as a team. Design and Technology Academy coach Mario Falcon wants his students to learn that lesson by creating media. He's joining me to explore the links between a smooth team and a smooth production. Welcome to BexarCast. I'm Randy Langford, and this is BexarCast, a weekly interview with business, political, educational, and nonprofit leaders. We're examining the relationships between all four and how each one benefits from the success of the other three. Shortly after high school, Mario Falcon had landed a role in the studio hit film Tin Cup. 2 years later, he'd appeared in 6 films, including Richard Linklater's Suburbia. Fast forward another 3 years, and he received recognition from the Smithsonian Institute of Latino Affairs for his 16mm film Horseplay. Chasing the dream to make it in Hollywood, he moved behind the camera to become a cinematographer. 20 years later, he's added more than 30 films, music videos, and commercials to his resume. Today, as a faculty member at the Design and Technology Academy Magnet School at Roosevelt High School, he considers his move to education the best decision he's ever made. Mario, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me, Randy. I appreciate this.
I'm glad to see you. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining me. And let me just start by giving you a chance to tell me what the Design and Technology Academy at Roosevelt High School is all about.
Well, DATA, Design and Technology Academy, we focus on different pathways. So my strand is the digital media arts video production strand. We also have architecture, coding, computer science, digital forensics, and
Wow.
oh yeah, we offer a lot, and fine arts type of courses. That's
Okay.
what-
Now, what's your film background? I know you have a background there.
I do. I'm from a small town called El Campo, Texas, and I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I went to Sharpstown Mall in Houston, which was my regular spot, and they were having open auditions. So I auditioned for this movie called Tin Cup. And
Oh, yeah, Kevin Costner.
yeah, Kevin Costner. And I ended up getting a featured extra role and working on the film for about 2 weeks.
Well, now I got to go watch it again. I've seen the movie, but now I got to go see it again and look for it.
I look totally different. I was 18 years old. I don't look anything. You won't recognize me, but I'm there. And I caught the acting bug, and so I acted for a while. And I was only 18 years old, so I ended up in San Antonio going to University of Incarnate Word.
Right.
And I actually wrote my first movie script in my dorm while I was there. And I came in contact with, I met Jesse Bodego through that. And he helped me. He became my mentor, taught me writing. So I ended up producing this movie back in my hometown and directing this movie on 16mm before digital.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. And it was called Horseplay. It was a short film. Well, after I showed that at the Cine Festival, I ended up getting recognized from the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery of Latino Affairs for that short film.
Wow.
I won a few film festivals for it, got a lot of recognition because I was so young.
Right.
I raised 10 to 15 grand to shoot that movie. And and that led me into music videos, to reality shows. That's how it got started.
Wow. That's a great story.
Yes.
That's fun. So you brought your data team to BexarFest 3 years
Yes.
now. And in those 3 years, you've been paired with Inspire Fine Arts, Owl Radio, and the Children's Ballet of San Antonio. So that's kind of across the board. You've done a little bit of everything. Tell me what goes into, the schools get to pick which nonprofit organization they want to work with. Tell me what goes into making that decision.
I leave it all up to the students, to the kids. One thing about being in the filmmaking media business is that you got to work together, because if not, you're off the set. You know,
it's a team sport for sure.
Team sport for sure. So I like for my kids to delegate their roles, and I give them free input. And what this Sometimes, I mean, it's tough for them because they have so many different personalities, and they have different interests, if that makes sense. And so usually they tend to go towards the interest, and sometimes I try to facilitate and gear them to why do you not want to step outside the box and do something that you're not familiar with, in which they take that in. So it was all up to them.
Well, that's another element of filmmaking is any kind of creative pursuit. If you're not passionate about the topic, you're not going to get very far. You're going to burn out pretty quickly. So it makes sense that the kids would choose something they're excited about.
Yes, of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
So having been in the festival for 3 years now, how has your experience changed over the course of those 3 years? Has it gotten any easier, any harder, any smoother, any rougher?
I don't look at it like that. I put myself in the student's perspective because, I mean, going to the Tobin and seeing your film on this big stage and this red carpet affair and these cameras, it means more to me than actually the filming and stuff because these kids, some of them have not stepped out that or have been outside their little neighborhood or experienced that type of thing.
Sure.
So I'm more engaged into that after feeling for them because I want them to. I mean, it's pretty fancy what your setup lately has been, and these kids actually feel privileged. I'm a filmmaker. Look at me. They're giving me all this free stuff. I get to sit in velvet seats, you know. And all that.
It's a fun night.
All that is very impressive to the student, I believe.
Have you seen a change in the way your kids approach it? Because now you have students that have been through it before. Do they bring the other kids on board and say, you don't have any idea what you're getting into?
Yes, they discuss it among themselves, and they get extremely excited. And the new kids who haven't experienced that yet, it's anticipation and not knowing. And so that's pretty cool that they don't know what they're stepping into.
What surprised you the most about the way your students approach the festival and the way they respond to the responsibility of having this story to tell?
My crew typically is pretty laid back, and I think it's because of my personality.
Right, sure.
So we have this trust. Like right now, behind the computer, there's 9 male seniors that I've known since freshmen. And we're actually, as soon as I hang up with you, we're actually going to Broadway 50/50 to shoot a commercial.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. So we're meeting up with the owners. We're going to lay out a concept. We're actually shooting his food photography for his website and social media. So right before I got on with you, I was telling them, hey, guys, when we get there, we're not going to discuss or say anything negative among ourselves. We're not going to say no. Let's be positive because there's a mixture of personalities.
Sure.
So I have to make sure that the crew is professional and practice the etiquette, and they do that very well. I have great students.
Absolutely, and that's interesting to me in that what I've heard from teachers and from the nonprofits as well, that like you say, when the kids find out they're going to be making this video, they're going to be participating in this process, they get really excited. And this is going to be big fun. It's playtime. We get to play with the cameras. We get to tell this story. It's just for fun. And then they meet the nonprofit, and it kind of flips a switch. It suddenly becomes much more serious. That this isn't a game. These people are really counting on us to tell their story, and they have expectations that we need to meet. Has that been your experience?
Yes, definitely. Usually when we meet these nonprofit directors or these leaders in these nonprofit, all of them have different personalities. The last 3 have different personalities as well, but they're very stern, and they know all of them knew what they wanted, which is the tricky part for these students. You know?
Good and bad, sure.
Good and bad, because we go in and we just shoot. We document, we get every stock footage, B-roll footage, and then we try to come up with the story or at least their concepts, and we try to translate all this into a story. BearFest
has evolved over the years that we've been doing this, and we've added career development workshops and new categories, and the festival has changed every year. Has it had any impact on how you plan your curriculum, knowing that this is coming up? Do you kind of work it into your schedule?
Yeah. Yes. So basically, if we're preparing for the children's ballet shoot, right? We go over all the rule of thirds, composition. We refresh on basic photography, and we also refresh on set etiquette. There's a lot of professionalism, and which has to do with networking, because you want to work with the same person on the next project, and you hope that they call you for the next video or whatever you have to shoot. So
getting more work is a good thing.
Yeah. There has to be a lot of eye contact, and yes sir, no sir, and a lot of. I just told my students, if you don't know anything, act like you know. Fake it,
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
One of the goals of the festival is to give students an inside look at how a nonprofit organization operates, because we want to give students an understanding of this is what you're working on. These are what these people do. This is their mission. Has that kind of exposure to a nonprofit organization or community service, has that had any impact on your students? Have any of them come away with a new understanding of how nonprofits work?
Yes, of course, because I really didn't have the discussion in depth, but I can tell that from them responding to the directors and the owners of these nonprofits, they do get serious. That's the moment where we're like, oh, this is serious now guys. We didn't just show up. This is not just a field trip now,
Right.
And yes, when we're doing the children's ballet, they were just amazed that this actually existed. These little kids have been all over the world, and they train, and even my students observing those kids,
right,
how disciplined they were, affected them tremendously.
Yeah,
they noticed that.
And that's interesting that we have the professional development workshop now to explain to students that yes, you can have a creative career, but understand it's a business. You need to perform professionally if you want to make an ongoing business out of this, make your living at this. You need to step up your game, and seeing those kids in the children's ballet, the level they're operating on, kind of reinforces that.
And another thing that I also try to mention is that in this business, people do burn a lot of bridges, and just make sure that you're not one of those people.
You may want to go down this road again. You probably don't want to throw a grenade across it as you go by.
Absolutely.
The festival, like I say, has grown and evolved over the years, and what started out as just video has now gone into graphics and photography and original music. Is that broader spectrum of any value to you? Do you see kids, graphic design, that's kind of interesting, I think I want to learn more about that?
Yeah, it is broader to some people. To me, it just seems normal, and that's what you're supposed to do,
right,
in a package. So all those elements that you just described should be represented and noticeable in the video product.
Right.
That should be standard. And I guess it's broader, but yes, some people are interested in other little elements like graphic design and not camera work. Right. So that's like what you're doing is absolutely great.
Well, good. I'm glad it's of use.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste everybody's time. We're just doing this for a way to kill the winter time.
And I'm testament. I've actually seen it grow. I've literally seen it grow. So that's
good. Thanks. Another element that this was a surprise to me. I hadn't expected this. Was kind of unintended consequences. Was the project management aspect of the festival, that we set out to create just a media festival. Here's a way to make some media, but bringing all those elements together, like you say, the photography, the graphic design, the music, the video, all of those elements coming together turns into a pretty significant project that needs to be managed. Is that element of any value to your students? Are they learning anything there?
Of course. Especially me being a teacher, because I still have to teach 6 other classes.
Right.
Besides this. So we have to figure out, and planning is extremely important. The kids, like I said, they kind of follow me or watch me and kind of have my behavior. And I'm one of those last minute, let's get it done, one of those, and it becomes a success. But I like the pressure on them. I like to know that they only have an hour to get this turned in. So,
right? Let's not fool around. This shouldn't take a week. And I'm not going to give you a week.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Mario, thanks for joining me. Thanks for your time. I know you're a busy man and you guys are on your way to a shoot, but thanks for spending a minute with me and talking about your experience at Bearfest.